Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day. Hope everyone made some amazing gains. Um, so today I kind of want, what I read today tied in is going to tie in beautifully with a conversation that I was having with a couple of friends last evening that I was, pretty big. And an idea started popping in my head for some reason that came to my conscious mind, and it was that how stupid the whole concept of the movie Forrest Gump is. A lot of us consider this movie to be amazing, and Tom Hanks was just a great actor. But if you really think about it objectively, the whole concept is rather stupid. It's rather pitiful. Like, am I really supposed to relate? Am I really supposed to sympathize and develop pity for this character? Like, look how the whole concept is, right? Like, he, in his ignorance and in his stupidity, was still able to achieve great things, and none of this happened out of his own volition, right? It was all happenstance. It was all for just allowing himself to be taken away by circumstances. That's how he ended up being in Vietnam. He signed it up for the army because he had no idea what he was doing, right? Oh, okay. So yes, sir, because you told me to, Joe Sergeant. Remember, like, that's the answers that he gives. You don't think, you just do. You're like, being stupid is good. Like, allowing yourself to be taken by the events and the people and the ideals and the people better, like the greater truth, the greater good. You will even be rewarded for it. That, a lot of this shit is proud, very socialist. Like the older I get, the more I realize how many of these movies have that as its underlying message. This socialist idealism. This idealism for a greater cause, a greater good. That's the whole concept of our limitations of logic and stuff like that, with Immanuel Kant. And, well, I'm not going to speak too much on that because it's not like I've read them. But it ties in with beautifully with what I've been reading today, which is in regards to the sort of culture that we've created, the what we emphasize, right? Like, it's a culture of traders. It's a culture of people who, we value our actions and its utility to others. We value our action, we value our moral actions from a sympathy for others. How can I construct a product that alleviates the woes of individuals, of a class of individuals, a different sort of individuals, or a multitude? Like, how many I can help alleviate. That's sort of a business-like thing, like a supply and demand. Like, how can I, and that sort of thought process pervades across all aspects of our thinking or all aspects of our lives, really, when it comes to religion, when it comes to law, when it comes to nations, when it comes to political parties, when it comes to philosophy, when it comes to how we view history. Like, look how when we talk about, conquerors or kings and things of that nature, we always have to talk about some of the deplorable things they've done, or sometimes we don't want to admit the impact that they've made because of the pile of bodies that was required in order to construct all these civilizations. And that's why we, in contrast to a lot of our previous generations, we developed revulsion for the past, and how brutal we were, and how warlike we were in the past. We consider those things to be barbaric. We don't consider that to be within our dignity. We have evolved too much to be engaged in such ape-like behavior, right? Excuse me. and I'm gonna keep this here. And if you really think about it, it really comes from a stem of fear. Now, a stem of it stems from trying to extirpate, or like us, or we ourselves extirpate all our dangerous instincts for the sake of this greater good. And it's unlike he says, like, it's unlike the Greeks, for example, who their spirit of competition is what drove their culture of their soul, the culture of their soul forward. And with the Romans, it was war, conquest, and law. You know, everything about Rome was conquest, and that's when they were at the apex of their power, was continued progression. And that's really a very interesting that's very an interesting point, or an interesting variable that I've come to realize, is that when you look across the epochs of military, or across nations, great nations or great countries, of course we talk about this cycle of, you know, these nations that rise and fall. And one of the key reasons is that there is that era, that stagnation. We become entrenched in our ways. We don't adapt, or we just grow old and weary, and we grow soft when we stop conquering. We have no more need for ingenuity. We have no more need for drive of power, you know, and you allow other nations to start propping up and get hungry and want to go after you, you know. A war delayed is just going to the benefit of the enemy, as Niccolo Machiavelli would say, or Niccolo Machiavelli has said. I'm obviously paraphrasing. But that's, you know, that's what we're trying to relinquish, or that's what the people want us to think, that it's noble to want to relinquish, right? Trying to not be dangerous, trying to be, you know, trying to have it seem that to be stupid, and to understand that everything is beyond our comprehension. We should just follow. We should just obey, you know. You look at Christianity, you know, none of it makes sense, but, you know, it's not supposed to make sense, because who are you to understand what it's all about? But then, you know, that doesn't even make sense, because then if you think about it, then how the hell do you know what it's all about? You know, there's just so many questions to be had, and it really, I just really start to believe more and more that it's really all like a control mechanism. Like, I know it's very cynical to view it that way, but we're the only ones that seem to pay attention to it and actually implement it. You know, we consider all these deplorable acts, but it's only through those deplorable acts that we're here, that we are taking advantage of technology, that we're, you know, living with AC. A lot of us here in the United States, like if you're in the United States, you probably have AC. You probably have a roof over your head. It's obviously more complicated than that, but it's built on a pile of bones. That's just how it is, you know. It's these instincts that drive progress. War is progress, you know, but we consider these things to be deplorable, and we try to be as stupid and as soft and as amicable as possible, and we no longer think for ourselves. We only think of the suffering of others. And it's just like with Forrest Gump, you know, he takes Jenny back, for example. You know, Jenny, a woman that never ever considered him, never gave him any hints that she wanted to have sexual relations or long-term commitment with this guy. And yet he continued to think about her. He continued to harbor these strong emotions for her, even though there's been no semblance of confirmation that he should continue said endeavor, right? And then why is that in itself an integral part of the story? And I feel like it has to do with, you know, this whole concept of, you know, in the beginning of any endeavor, there is no prospect of success. You know, the confidence that you are going to achieve comes from a state of delusion, or obviously a previous work, but you have never technically achieved this goal. You know, you have to be delusional to think that, you know, you have to trick yourself to believing that you can. Like, this confidence doesn't come from evidence, I suppose you could say. But, you know, this guy takes back Jenny, and it's crazy. Like, you know, she has sex with him once, and then disappears, and it turns out she has a kid after him. Like, goddamn, like, he's a really fertile dude. Like she only stayed for that one night and then drove off, right? And then and the only reason that she probably hit him up is because she was broke, and so he could take care of her, because she probably knew that he was a multimillionaire. He had good property. I know it's fucked up, but it's true. Now you want to tell me that I have a fucking kid? How interesting. But no, we're just supposed to accept it. Like, how am I supposed to pity that? Like you have to really criticize the message overall. Like, why are we supposed to be sympathizing with these sort of things? Like, why are these virtues extolled as noble and good? Like, this is the good we need to strive towards, to, you know, to alleviate the suffering of all, to be the protector of each one, and, you know, to no longer tyrannize, and to no, like, you know, and that's why a lot of us are getting screwed. You know, we complain and we bitch and we moan, but we no longer have the volition to do what's necessary, you know, and we no longer have the ability to do so in regards to changing the current state of events, or the stream, and how these events are transpiring in regards to the WEF and all these places. Because we consider these acts to be deplorable. We no longer consider these acts to be good, and we no longer want to engage in them. You know, it's all about pitying. It's all about feeling guilty for other people. It's all about, you know, I have to be guilty for my circumstance and for my advantages. Oh my God, I have advantages. How terrible of me. Woe is me for having advantages. You know, that's just the concept that they're saying. And, you know, that it's I can't believe that Forrest Gump actually came up in my head. But it's pretty cool, you know. But that will be, I think that'll be all for today. I'm gonna read a little bit more, and I'll say, sorry, I don't know why my nose is so itchy, but thank you all for watching. I hope you all make gains if you haven't done so already, and love y'all. Peace.